Sometimes life is like this dark tunnel. You can't always see the light at the end of the tunnel, but if you just keep moving, you will come to a better place.
Hey friends, welcome back, or welcome for the first time if this is your first time checking out Dave is One Day Closer. This is my podcast where I talk about love and death and creativity and all the things in between. This is episode 5, and today I'm recording in my tattoo studio space, which is in Marshall, North Carolina, just a little ways north of Asheville. If you've never been to this area, I definitely recommend coming up and checking out Marshall, walking around. It's a beautiful little river arts town, and it's a little gem. I've been here for 4.5 years. I met my tattoo mentor in December of 2019, right before the COVID came and kind of tossed the world down the stairs. And this is my last week working in the shop. Our agreement, my mentor and I had an agreement that I would work beneath him, under his wing for 4 to 5 years. And my lease was ending at the end of this month, and so it felt like an appropriate time, about 4.5 years working here, to transition. And I'm moving out to my partner Christina's farm in Clyde, North Carolina, which is about an hour southwest of here. And I'm feeling so excited, and definitely some fear, just the unknown and a new beginning. I'm mostly excited for a new chapter, a new way of being, a new adventure. And I've had some energy around doing another podcast. I've been trying to do these on a weekly. I think I've gotten one out a week over the last 4 weeks, last month or so. I might have missed a week there. Time's flying, you know. It's interesting. I'm in the tattoo shop right now. It's myself and my coworker Ashley are both here, and I'm like aware of my volume, which is interesting because it's like I'm keeping my voice low so that she doesn't necessarily hear me, but I'm recording a podcast which other people will listen to. So it's like, what am I concerned about? And I feel like that's a really natural segue into the topic that I wanted to discuss, which is actually, I think, something that Ashley presented to me, this idea that we are in eclipse season on April 7th, I believe, that there'll be a full solar eclipse. And although North Carolina isn't in the path of totality, from what I understand, it's a super significant event. And the energy of that is really powerful. I mean, I've heard that during eclipses, all of the wildlife gets really quiet. You know, it's just darkness. In the middle of the day, darkness comes and covers the land. And so all the animals quiet down. They're like, what in the world is happening? And so if it can have that effect on the wildlife, I believe that it has some profound effect on us as well. But I've been reflecting a lot on this idea of the eclipse season and the question of what is getting in the way of your light. What is blocking your shine, or getting in the way of the light that you wish to reach? What obstacles stand in the way? For me, an obstacle has been just the fear of making a decision and moving towards something. The indecisiveness of like, is this the right move? Is moving out to the farm the right call? What if it doesn't go well? What if it doesn't work out with me and my partner? And now her kids are developing a relationship with me as well. So it's just like this higher stakes of moving to the farm and integrating our lives. And with that comes fear. And so that's been something that's been in the way for me, is that fear. And I think it's a healthy thing to feel. It shows me that I'm really considering if this is the thing that I want to do. And the answer is yes. I've spent a lot of time working on it. And Christina and I have really navigated a lot of mostly my fears and insecurities and doubts as those have come up. And I've been able to navigate that and communicate that and work through the challenges that those have presented for us in our relationship. And I'm feeling so excited and so solid and confident in the container that we've created for our relationship to move out to the farm and bring our lives together and begin to build a life together. On a creative level, things that have been blocking me have been fear of financial scarcity, or just the reality of not having the financial means to do the things that I really want to do. For example, like in my mind, that my perfectionist wants to have really nice microphones and a really good camera and a computer that I can do all my editing on, and a space that I can set up and have really good sound quality for the recordings. And those are all things that are going to happen. Those they're already out there. That light is out there. And what's blocking it right now is just the time between now and that happening. And so it's like, it's already happened. I already can envision recording podcasts in the little studio, the little tiny home where I'll be setting up to tattoo out at the farm. There'll be a tattoo space and an art space and a podcast space that I'm going to call Coyote Jack's Expression Emporium. And I can see it. I can see the room, and I can see the microphones on their microphone stands, the things that you can pull out and adjust so you can bring it right up to your mouth, which obviously makes a much better quality of sound, and good lighting, and a really nice camera, maybe even a couple cameras, so I can get multiple shots to make this more visually interesting for people that are like, give me more stimulation. I want to see more stuff happening all the time. So yeah, fear of scarcity, the actual not having the financial resources to make things the way that I see them in my mind right away. And so this necessity of patience and faith that which I desire to bring into the world is there. It's waiting for me. And it's just like, it's a matter of just being patient and doing what I can right now with what I have right now. And so right now I have my iPad, and I've got this microphone, and I've got my phone, and that's what I've been using to record and edit and post these videos and these podcasts. And I think that applies to so many people. Of like, oh well, I really want to get into painting, but I mean, I've done that. I'm like, yeah, I would love to actually paint, but I want to have like a dedicated art space, and that's just like that's me getting in the way of that light. I am blocking myself by telling myself like, oh, I can only really make artwork if I have like a space where I can make a mess and I can have all my paints out. And yes, that's maybe true. Maybe when I have that kind of space, I will paint. But maybe not. Maybe I'm just getting in the way of my own creative expression, which is fine. I think there's a time for the gestation, the swirling, the mixing around, the rumbling around in our heads of whatever the thing is that we want to get out, but we can't really get our hands around it. We don't really know what it is. And then one day you're like, I'm going to fucking get that canvas out and get all my paints out, and I'm going to make a mess. I'm going to paint an apple. I'm going to sit down at the piano. I'm going to play. You know what? I'm going to make that recipe that I've been thinking about forever. My grandma's recipe that I've had in that box for so long. I'm going to make one. So it's about carving out the time when we recognize that the space is there, or when we intentionally carve out the space to do the thing that we've been thinking about as a decision point. It's like, okay, it's Sunday. This is my last Sunday in the tattoo shop. I didn't have an appointment. The door's open, the sun's shining. We get the walk-in sign out there. Maybe there will be walk-ins. But I was like, this is a great opportunity. I get to record a podcast in my tattoo studio in my last week here in the tattoo shop after 4.5 years. And I wanted to record here so I can show y'all, anyone interested in what my space has been like, what it has become over the last 4.5 years. So in a second, I'll get up and carefully move my iPad to give you guys a little bit of a look around here. And then later this week, after my last tattoo, I'll begin packing it up, and these walls will be bare once more, and all of the things that I've brought into this space will be gone. And I'll move on to the next chapter. And we'll see if my mentor wants me to paint over the artwork that I've added to the walls over the last couple of years, the phrases and things that are meaningful to me. The Instagram mirror was here when I got here. I just added more stickers to it, but I didn't put the Instagram thing on there. So just so you know. This morning I got back to my house, and my housemate, Rob, was in packing mode. He had gotten a U-Haul, and he was loading up the truck with our buddy Travis. Shout out to Travis if you're watching. I love you. I'll love ya. And yeah, we helped pack up the truck and just loaded up this 15-foot U-Haul truck with so much of Rob's stuff, his furniture and boxes and artwork and plants and knickknacks and paddywhacks and all of his clothes and hats and all those things. And we sent him on his way to Chattanooga, where he's moving in with his girl. It's been really fun. I've lived with Rob for over 5 years now, across 3 different houses we've lived together. He's been such an incredible roommate and friend and someone to come home to. This last year that we've lived together, when I drive back into my neighborhood after a day at the shop or wherever I am, I turn this corner and I like, as a car passes by this house, I can see if Rob's car is in the driveway, and I'm always excited to see that his car is home, because I know we're going to have some kind of fun, silly interaction. And this transition, this turning of the page of this new chapter for both of us is really bittersweet, in that I'm going to miss living with him a lot. He's the best of us, just like so kind and silly and authentic, and he treats every person that he encounters as a friend, and or at least someone that he is friendly towards and is open towards. Yeah, and I will be recording a podcast. I think the next guest that I will have on will be Rob, and I think we might record it in our house as it's almost totally bare. So maybe it'll just be us sitting in an totally empty living room on the floor or something. We'll see. Stay tuned for that. Let me show you guys the shop real quick. Yeah, my little station with all my machines and inks, some artwork up on the walls, all the stencils that I've done over the last couple of years. I've done 920 something sessions here in the tattoo shop, and I've put a lot of those stencils on the ceiling. Got some artwork up on the walls that will come down. There's my calendar, which I'd imagine anyone that follows my tattoo account, Tall Dave Tattoos, has probably seen. Some have called it chaotic. I think it's beautifully organized, but hey, I've got some pig's feet when I first tattooed. These are my earliest tattoos. Image of Jack the Dog and Kaladin. Some gifts over the years. Art projects, photos, more pig's feet. Hot dog with wings carrying a tulip, thanks to the Knowles brothers, Patrick and Danny. That's a bad pig's foot. That did not go well. And then most importantly, Jack the Dog. Hi, Jack. All right, coming back around. We'll see if you guys can hear that or not, but we'll figure it out. That's the tattoo space. I'm so proud of myself for seeing this commitment through. I didn't really consider what a commitment 4 to 5 years is. I was so excited to get into tattooing. I didn't really think about what that would look like. And it's been challenging and healing and expansive and restrictive. And the energy that I feel around this shift out to my own space where I am my own boss and I make my own hours and I keep all my wages and I get to take on whatever clients I want and say no to the ones that I don't. The energy that I feel around not just tattooing but just creativity in general, I feel this just like surge of energy that has been not necessarily stagnant, but I haven't had the space in my life. I haven't made the space in my life to channel it into the things that I want to make as much, to the extent that I want to. The realities of my life currently has just been like paying a fairly expensive rent and covering bills, as well as a lot of trips and adventures and just life. And those expenses mean that I need to work enough to cover those expenses. And when I'm working that much, a lot of my energy goes into just getting through the work week. And in moving to the farm, that overhead is going to go down. My income will go up, and as well as I think my free time. So we'll see. This new chapter is going to be a doozy in so many beautiful ways. What else? The faith that the path before me is meant for me. I love the nature of new chapters and of following the little breadcrumbs that lead me towards something, and the ways that in doing that and taking that risk of following the breadcrumbs and seeing where the thing leads me, I've been rewarded over and over and over. I took a risk in moving over to Taiwan and ended up living there for 5 years. I had no idea what that experience would be like, and it changed my life. And then I took a risk and quit my job teaching and moved home to become an artist. And I lived in my parents' basement as a 30-year-old using my mom's car, which was pretty low risk, but it was very uncomfortable for me. And through the challenges that presented to me, it brought me to North Carolina, and I found Asheville. And I sensed something here. I felt something here. And I didn't know a single person. And I decided to move here. And it was like 2017. And I'd say that's gone pretty well. So my invitation to you is, if you are feeling some energy around the potential of a path, you're seeing breadcrumbs, there's a little bit of like a little spark or a beacon of light that's drawing you forward. My invitation to you is to move towards that thing. Be curious about it. Maybe take a risk. Because it is only in taking risks and stepping off the ledge or into the darkness or through the doorway that we can be rewarded and thus cultivate a sense of faith in that thing that is drawing us forward. Maybe you want to call it intuition. Maybe it's some type of higher self, whatever you want to call it. Something is drawing us forward. And if I listen to that voice, that tug at my heart, and I move in that direction, there might be something that I didn't even imagine waiting for me. There's something that I couldn't even wrap my brain around waiting for me. Or not. Maybe there will be some kind of wild challenge, something that you could have never seen coming that knocks you off your fucking feet. And you end up stepping off the ledge and you're like, ha 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 ha, this is going to be great. Dave told me to take a risk. And then you fall all the way down, you bang your head and your elbows and your knees, and you end up in just a bloody pile on the bottom of a valley floor, surrounded by snakes. And there's bears with machine guns hunting for you. And you're like, fuck Dave. I should have never taken that risk. But you know what? I bet you can find your way out of there. Maybe you can, somehow begin to communicate with the snakes, and you can team up with the snakes and create like this massive Battlecat of Snakes, and you like ride this huge sandworm of snakes out of the valley and just devour all the machine gun bears along your way. And before you know it, you're on top of another mountain with a Battlecat of Snakes. But that's just one possible path. So it's hard to say what will happen if you take that risk. But the trick of faith is taking a leap of faith. Obviously, maybe. I think that's all I have to say for today. I had a friend of mine, Kayshawn. Shout out to Kayshawn. Thanks for listening, brother. He checked in. He texted me the other day saying that he'd been listening to a previous podcast, and he had been driving and like contemplating this question of like, what if this was the last year that I was going to be alive? What if I had 1 year left to live? Like what is stopping me from doing these things that I desire? And I invite you to reflect on that as I sign off of here. What if this was your last year to be alive? What would you want to do? And what is getting in the way of that? What is blocking the light of that potential reality? Is it you? Is it someone in your life? Is it a job? Is it a conversation that needs to happen that's really uncomfortable? As we move into this new season of spring and growth and blossoming, and we experience the energy of the eclipse, I hope that you find a way to move through or around or under or over whatever it is that's getting in your way to get to the light. Thank you so much for listening. I'd love to get any feedback y'all have. Yeah, thanks for checking it out. And thanks to Jack the dog for all your support. He's my main producer of fur and dog poop. That's it. I love you.